Hey guys, I'm 13 here. Guess I'm gonna do a life update. It's almost Christmas time, and I've been doing some Christmas celebrations around the city with my son. We got a bitch in the car behind. Oh, she used a signal light. Good for her. I'm gonna stop trash talking her. That's all it takes, people. Just use your fucking signal light. It's like, I'm gonna make a video about this in Chinese for the locals. It's like, you see someone in an expensive car. Yeah, this guy. And the difference between like a low-class piece of shit mobster in an expensive car and a respectable high-class adult in an expensive car is simply a signal light. That's the difference. And it's just amazing. Like, people don't realize it. Like, oh, I keep saying like, and I hate that. You'll see someone in an expensive car or a sports car or something, and they'll be changing lanes without using their signal light, and they just look like low-class trash. You just know that they didn't get that expensive car through with their intelligence. They got it through like lying, cheating, and stealing. They're just a piece of shit who has enough money to buy an expensive car. And then you see another person in an expensive car who is using their signal light to indicate lane changes. And it doesn't matter if they're speeding. I don't mind, like, if some guy in a Porsche flies by me at double the speed limit and then signals and then moves in front of me. I'm like, I'm cool with that. I'm like, that's a guy who has a nice car and he has skills at using it. But the exact same scenario with a Porsche flying by me doing double the speed limit and then cutting it and then moving in front of me, and it's more like cutting in front of me when they don't signal. In that situation, I'm like, piece of shit, probably drug dealer, pimp, whatever. Like, he got to where he is in life not through hard work or intelligence. He got there from being a piece of shit. And it's just something as small as a signal light that makes that huge difference. You know, the person in the Porsche goes from being like god level status to absolute piece of shit status just from one signal light. It's just huge. And they must know it to some degree. So, and then the fact that they must know it to some degree and still consciously choose to not signal just proves what a piece of shit they are. You know, and then when you see, but why am I talking about expensive cars only? What about when like an inexpensive car changes lanes without signal? Well, then it's more understandable. Like, if you see some poor person in a poor car not using their signal light, it's more understandable that they're a piece of shit. Or not piece of shit. I take that back. It's more understandable that they're not educated, that they're not cultured enough or socially mannered enough to use a signal light because they're poor. You expect that from a poor person, more so. So, you know, when I see a poor person changing lanes, then it's just like low class. Look at this car. Let's move over. What the hell was that? So yeah, but it's just amazing. It's like, and there was a car yesterday. It was a nice Mercedes, a high-end one, and he was changing lanes. He was cutting in line, like it was a red light, and he went to the oncoming lane to get to the front of the red light, and then cut back in again. And then and then he was changing lanes without signaling, and he had I passed him, and he had his high beams on, and he kept them on so I slowed down, I let him pass, and then I caught up to him, and then there was a red light, so I pulled him next to him, knocked on his window, and I'm like, I listed his faults. I'm like, you cut in line, you ran a red light. You know, I run reds all the time, but I do it politely. I don't mess with other people when doing so. He literally went into the oncoming lane and then cut to the front at a red. And then the light actually turned green before he got to the front, so he had to kind of cut people off. And then his response was just extremely polite, but it was so polite that it was the equivalent of saying, "Go fuck yourself." What do I mean by that? His response was he's like, "Thank you for pointing out my mistakes. I will strive to do better in the future." That was honestly this total piece of shit in a Mercedes just fucking with everybody. And when I politely told him he was an asshole, he politely responded with, thank you for pointing out my errors in life. I will strive to do better in the future. And he couldn't have, it was just the most blatant fuck you. It was like, I actually had to give him like points for so savagely just telling me to fuck myself in the most polite way possible. You know, like, yeah. If he'd just been like, sorry, didn't realize, I'll try to do better, that might have been genuine to some degree, but he was just so overly polite that it had to have been fake. It was 10 times cooler than just saying F you. If I'd just been like, you know, I told him, you're driving like shit, you're doing this, you're doing that, and if he was just like, fuck you, like, it would be low class, unintelligent, and then I would have responded with something more low class and unintelligent, and I would have, like, won the argument. But with him responding so amazingly politely, I had nowhere to go with that, and he just kind of won, you know? Yeah. So anyways, I think this video is pretty much over. I was gonna do like a life update, and then I got sidetracked by that story, and then I got nothing better than that, so I'm just gonna end the video here. Except I would like to comment that this is unusually mild weather for Taiwan for winter. It's like, what is it? It's the December 21st. Got like 4 days away from Christmas, and I'm wearing a t-shirt while riding. And that's abnormal. Like a week ago, it dropped down to like plus 12 Celsius, which is, on a scooter, is very, very, on a motorcycle, is very, very, very cold. I was wearing a parka inside my home, because my home doesn't have insulation. So 12 degrees outside my home is pretty much 12 degrees inside my home. Like, this is a red light, and I'm going to run it, but I'm signaling, I'm looking, I'm not affecting anyone else. I was already at the front anyways. Because I'm here, you know. I'm not gonna, why sit at a red light for a solid minute just when I'm already here? Right, Xiaomei? So yeah, that's my video.